Yeah.
Okay, guys, welcome from all over the world. We love having you here. I'm Dr. Maureen Hayes from Galveston, Texas. And you can't really see it when I first, turned it. You could see the Gulf outside of my window. It's really nice outside of my doors. And I'm joined by the regulars. That's Jim and Ann Glenn from San Antonio, Texas. Jim is our big money man, and Ann is our beautiful nutritionist and personal trainer. And of course, we have the amazing Dr. Lee Osler, who is a dentist extraordinaire up in Washington State and also the author of several books and counting on redox signaling, starting with Redox Matters, which is his website, redoxmatters.com, where not only can you read excerpts from the books and order the books, but you can also see archives of this show. So tonight we have a special treat, a fan favorite, Nancy Walker. She's part of a couple. Usually she has her husband, Dick, on with her. Dick is a retired ER doctor, and we love hearing his stories and his transition from sick care to wellness. But Nancy has an amazing story all her own. She's an incredible entrepreneur, has a background as a healthcare practitioner, dental hygienist, has her own redox story, which she's going to share with us. And also, she's absolutely gorgeous. And most of that, we're taking credit for it from a No, she started gorgeous, but she's just been able to accentuate that with our products. So we'll be talking a little bit about that as well. So Nancy, come on, take us back to the beginning, because I know you were a little reluctant to get involved with this company and all. So take us back to where you were when you and Dick were first introduced to this.
Thanks, Maureen. Thanks, everybody, for inviting me tonight. So much fun to be with you guys. In the beginning, we were introduced by a friend, Jerry White, like most people are introduced by a good friend. He came over to the house and he said, you guys are going to be interested in this. And I thought, oh, okay. I had two retail stores and I worked all the time and I was exhausted. And so I was interested in finding something that would help me feel better and help me get well, because I had been not well for about 35 years. And so he told us all about the redox molecules, and Dick was all excited. I didn't know what he was talking about, but I thought, okay, I'm willing to try it. It's safe. I'm going to try it. But I can't take, yeah.
If you don't mind, when you say for 35 years you didn't feel well, what was that like? I mean, give us what was your life like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question.
Early on in my life, I had a lot of emotional stress. That's what I attribute it to. My mother died when I was a young teenager. I was 14, and my father was, my father was abusive, and it was very stressful. I left home when I was 17 and actually went to college, hitchhiked to the next state over and started college, enrolled in college. But I had a lot of emotional stress. And by the time I was 20, I hurt from head to toe. My back always felt sore, like somebody hit me with a baseball bat. I mean, that's what my spine felt like most of the time. I had a lot of brain fog, and then when I was 30, I went through a divorce, which was very stressful. I had a 3 and a 4-year-old. And so it seems like that was my life, was stress. And I never really heard the term until I got older. Oxidative stress, that's what I had. And I had a lot of it, and it was ongoing. And so that resulted in, I was chronically tired. I had brain fog. It was hard to get organized. And by the time I was introduced to ASEA, I could barely stay awake. I was completely depleted. Every time I sat down, I would fall asleep. And at the dental office, I had to have somebody make a pot of coffee at about 2:30, 3 o'clock, or I wouldn't be able to make it until the end of the day. even when I drove the car, sometimes at stoplights, I would put the car in park because I never knew if I was going to fall asleep. And then I would wake up with horns honking, and then have to put the car and drive. And many times I would get home and drive into the driveway, turn the car off, and I would immediately fall asleep. I wouldn't make it in the house. So that's what my life was like. And I just, it was difficult. I struggled. And so I tried some alternatives that helped a little bit, but nothing helped very much. I slept 10 hours a night and I was still tired all the time. So I was willing to try these amazing molecules. Although when I did, they tasted terrible. And I thought, this cannot be good for me. But I trusted Dick and I trusted Jerry, and they said it's 100% safe. Just drink it. So I did. And within a couple weeks, my brain fog lifted. Now, when you have brain fog, you really don't know, you have nothing to compare to. You don't know how bad it is until it goes away. And in 2 weeks, I felt like I could get organized. I had a bunch of big projects around my house. I had over 600 pounds of alpaca fiber in the garage that I was supposed to sort according to fineness and color and to sell it on the world market, but I could never get organized enough to do it. Well, I did it in the first 2 weeks after starting on ASEA.
Mm.
And
Hey, Nancy.
yeah.
Hey, real quick. Okay. What did it taste like to you? And how much were you drinking in the beginning?
In the beginning, I was drinking about 4 ounces a day.
Okay. So 2 and 2.
Yep. 2 and 2.
So one of our little cups.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay.
Yep.
And Nancy, how long ago was that? Because I think you and Dick got in about the same time my husband and I did. We've been in for about 11 and a half years. And back then, number one, all we had was the liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knew to take more than 2 ounces twice a day. It's what it said on the back of the bottle. So we all kind of followed along.
We did.
Yeah.
And it gave me energy and it lifted my brain fog, but I still hurt from head to toe. I was stiff. I was inflexible. I could barely turn my head, or it made my spine burn, actually. I couldn't exercise because my muscles, I did, but my muscles didn't recover. It took about 4 days. Every time I'd exercise, I'd have to wait 4 days before I felt good enough to exercise again. But that was in 2012, yes. So it was about the same time. And so what happened, I still hurt, but although I was only sleeping 8 hours a night and I was energized. And I think, I don't know if you've heard me say, we live in a 3-story log home and I stripped all the logs on the inside of my house in the first 2 weeks to get them ready for the company that came in to stain and seal them. But I did that too, because I was so excited. I hadn't felt that way since I was, 15. I hadn't had that much energy. So, and it wasn't but I still hurt. And then about 6 months in, I ran into Dr. Gary Samuelson, who used to be a consultant for ASEA, and stabilized these molecules. And I got him over aside and I said, I hate to tell you this, but this ASEA doesn't work for my sore muscles. And he just laughed and he said, no, it works. And he said, you've had this problem for a long time. And I said, yes, 35 years. And he said, it's going to take it's going to take more to flood your cells and get your body back in redox balance. So I want you to take more for a month, take quite a bit more. And I actually only had to take quite a bit more for 2 weeks. And I woke up after going to bed one night, I woke up and I felt like a new person. And not just a new person, like what I felt like as a teenager, better, because I had never been flexible. And then I was flexible for the first time in my life. I could touch my toes, I could turn my head, and my spine didn't hurt. And I could touch my chin to my chest. I could never do that. I always wanted to wash my hair in the kitchen sink, but I never could because I couldn't bend my head. But when I woke up after drinking an increased amount for a couple of weeks, I could do that. And I had no discomfort at all. And it was like a mirror. I couldn't believe it.
How much were you drinking when you
I
went?
drank 16 ounces a day for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Okay.
And then
Do you mind if I bump in real quick with Dr. Osler? Lee, give us the disclaimer, but could you explain why that would happen? Why someone would start out with a smaller amount than, based on phenomenal advice, she upped it and she had a potentially a quicker response. And then if you don't mind, could you address why the bottle says just 2 ounces twice a day, or is that something you can speak to?
Sure, thanks. Nancy, it's
Okay.
such a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, and I want to definitely get back to Nancy's story, but I really want people at this time to understand why these molecules might do that.
So each of us are independent associates of a company called ASEA, and we represent, it's a supplement. It's not a medication. And therefore, we don't make claims. We don't treat. We don't diagnose with this. This is a cellular health product that causes the redox regulatory circuit inside the cell to work better. That's how this functions. And so we don't, we caution people speaking about, medical diagnoses and naming specific diseases. We just talk in generalities, and most people understand what we're saying. And so the whole idea is we're trying to enhance cellular function. When Nancy talked about going from 4 ounces to 16 ounces, we have this thing that's not an official, description from a biology point of view, but we kind of speak about a redox deficit. We're just simply not functioning well through whatever reasons. Nancy went through a long list of her history, of things that might have contributed to that, but it's basically inefficient cell functioning or dysfunction. It's like functioning in the wrong way, where you're producing a lot of inflammatory things. And so when that becomes corrected, then the cell signals properly. We can turn on what I like to call the inner doctor, the response of or stress adaptive mechanisms that create strong health. We become more resilient. We become more capable, more strong. We're ready, for whatever comes at us. And so going from what we call 0 to 60, if you will, it's like sometimes it takes a little more fuel. Sometimes it takes a little more oomph, to get over these initial hurdles, and then you can back down to a more of a maintenance thing because you're detoxing and you're resetting the cell. It's starting to communicate. We call it signaling. These are pathway genes that tell the DNA what it's supposed to be doing and when it's not supposed to be doing. That's one of the distinctive differences between what we represent and many other companies out there that have different products, is that this is about response. It's about responsiveness and not just top loading the cell or top loading the body with a force like a hammer and forcing it to do things. That's kind of what drugs do in a way. So hopefully I addressed that. Was that where you wanted, Jim? Did I get it all? You're on mute.
I just realized that. If you don't mind, because Nancy mentioned earlier when she was younger, that word oxidative stress. Could either you or Maureen please address, or Nancy, if you want to? I mean, what we hear this all the time. Look, I am not medical. I like I say, I was a jock in high school. I totally avoided anything to do with science. What is causing oxidative stress? What is it?
Maureen, I'll let you pick that one.
You're muted.
Wow. Okay. That's a shame. It was brilliant, what I had to say. You know, oxidative stress is kind of, actually it's the root of most diseases, comes from stress. If you think about the word disease, dis-ease. And when we talk about oxidative stress, it's basically like a rusting of the body. If you've ever seen wrought iron or something left outside, a metal left outside, when you have these different transfer of electrons, it can cause that rusting. Well, that can happen in our body as well. And, that's part of what we're talking about with this being an imbalance, and kind of by putting things back into balance, if you will. And we use that word, it's not really a homeostasis. And I love Dr. Lee's word, hormesis. I'd never heard of it before until I met Dr. Lee, but now it's amazing. We're not really totally in balance. We're in a position, we're able to put our bodies in a position where they're resilient to stress, because we're constantly being pushed off. So it has to do with being able to come back to center, right? So when you have these molecules and these electrons, and it's all about transfer of electrons. In fact, if you've ever heard Hunter Dean talk, he talks about, electrons are just looking for a place to rest, and they're transferred between different molecules and all. And not to get too deep into the science, but that's where we are with this. We're in the mitochondria, we're where the cells are producing energy, we're with the transfer of electrons. And when you're off balance is when you get this oxidative stress that happens in the body. And it leads to different disease states. You think about like atherosclerosis and different things like that. So when Nancy talks about being in stress, and oxidative stress, her body was not able to cope with it. Didn't have the resilience to kind of bounce back from it. And that's why you see, her different symptoms were kind of encompassing, and I bet I treated a lot of people who had your same symptoms in my pain clinic. And I bet I could add a few that you didn't mention to it, because your story was so familiar to me. So anyway, I hope that was good enough. If you want to be more scientifically, jump in there. You probably do a better job of explaining it than I do.
Well, the point is we live in a world of oxygen. We have an oxygen-based metabolism. We breathe air which has oxygen, and this whole point of electrons moving. I mean, you can just witness it the next time you turn on your gas stove or you burn wood in a fireplace or a campfire. The stored electrons in that biomass, we'll call it, the fuel, is transferring to oxygen. If you take the oxygen away, then that transfer stops, the reaction stops. And so inside the body, we do that in the mitochondria. As we eat food, it turns to glucose. We are harvesting electrons off of the glucose that are transferred to oxygen that we're breathing. And those oxygen molecules are a part of what we're talking about, the reduction oxidation reactions. That's what creates cellular energy. But most importantly to this conversation, it's what produces what we call redox signaling molecules. And it's those molecules that empower or guide or direct the DNA to do what we were talking about earlier. And so it's the redox or oxidative state of the cell, which if I have too much creates inflammation. And if I have the just right amount, the Goldilocks amount, then I can strategically turn on these genes, these switches that are in every cell. It's a cascading thing that goes through the whole body. And I can turn on and turn off these pathway genes on purpose, intentionally. And that's what Nancy did. I'll throw it back to you, Nancy. That's what you were doing when you upped your dose, is you were finally able to manage those pathway genes to biohack, if you will, your DNA to respond to the problems that you were having, and to recover, rejuvenate, repair, restore. And we, in the anti-aging arena, we call those are the survival and longevity genes. So.
Well, it's like a miracle. That's what I say. And in answer, that's a great description. Jim, to answer your question, it tasted really, really like chlorine. even though it's not chlorine, but that's what it tasted like to me. But now, you know what? It tastes like just sweet, just like water. That's a
If you don't mind, either Maureen or Lee or Nancy, why would it taste like that? Why does it taste like something different, maybe to different people? I've heard it described many ways, but why could that be? Lee,
Well,
you
these
both are, or Maureen.
redox molecules, a redox or reduction oxidation molecule, they're all around us. There's hydrogen peroxide, there's hypochlorite, there's hypochlorate. I mean, it's sodium and chloride. The way it's produced in ASEA is it's electrolyzed saline. And so that's why people describe this often as it tastes like pool water, is because there's redox molecules in it. We're not flavoring this to taste like a strawberry milkshake. This, I call it medicated saline, if you will, because it's restoring and resetting what's going on inside the cell. And so that's my explanation.
Seems to be based on physiology is what we found. I don't know what the scientific reason for that is, but I know when we got started on it, it didn't taste like much to me. It tasted maybe a little salty, maybe like a little bit of pool water. Whereas my husband, who had been on major medications, for a pretty significant health challenge, he couldn't even tolerate it. I mean, I was like, what in the world? Put on your big boy pants and drink it. And then we went to a conference where they said, it's a hard sell, but the more you need it, the worse it tastes. And my husband was like, see? And I was like, oh, okay. But I've noticed, and Nancy, you probably have too, it usually tastes more like nothing, except if I've been out and maybe I've eaten poorly or, indulged some way or something's off, then I will get kind of a pungent taste the next morning when I take it. It's interesting.
It is. I even notice it with the Renew 28. When I put that on my face, if I can smell that chlorine,
The chlorine, yeah.
then I know I'm either then I usually increase my dose for drinking it, and I also spray it up my nose because I feel like I'm fighting something off. So that's a clue,
Well, when
go ahead.
Well, just as we've been talking about it being out of balance, in the beginning, it didn't taste so great, but after a few weeks, your body started getting into balance, right? When you increased it, you were already starting to see it change because your body's now pushing out those toxins and starting to repair. Is that what you noticed? It just took literally a few weeks and it started getting a little bit better and better as time went by? Did you find that in
weeks I had a lot of changes, but the harder, it took longer for my body, body aches and stuff. I think back to my mother who passed away young. And then I think, she really needed these molecules. So I'm glad that I don't have to follow in her footsteps, that I found ASEA Redox when I did. Otherwise, I might not be here.
Might have been doing all the things she did.
Yeah.
So could you say you saw quite a bit of difference when the gel came out 9 years ago? I mean, that had to have been a pretty amazing thing to add to your routine. Go from the liquid now topical.
Yeah. Yeah. I started to think, I just want to put it in the bathtub and get in there because I know I needed it all over. And then they came out with the gel, which was really great. And, I use that from head to toe. I use it everywhere. And makes your skin so smooth and increases cell turnover and elasticity. And not only that, but, sore muscles and joints, any injury, we have a property here and I trim trees and, I get some owies and I just Renew 28. It's like my whole first aid kit is Renew 28. So
So Nancy,
that
when we talk about our skin, I like how this is going to shift because
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to your comments about skin health. We talked a moment ago about we live in a world of oxygen, which creates, oxidative stress. But we also live in a world of sunshine. And so, UV radiation, oxidation, sunburns are really nothing more than oxidation. When you burn or metabolize, my point a minute ago, when you burn a log in a campfire, you're actually oxidizing. You're metabolizing. It's just not a biological thing for inside, but you're combusting this biomass or plant matter, whatever. So in the skin cells, the skin is oxidizing, so it burns, right? You're losing electrons to that process. So could you maybe with your innate wisdom about skin, could you kind of go off into the deep end there for us and talk to us about, redox signaling, skin health, and how to combat that?
Well, I want to point out that my skin really improved just by drinking a sea of Redox. So if you're healthy on the inside, it shows on the outside. And one of the most important things that people don't often think about, they think about their face. Everyone wants to look good, right? But the main job of our skin is to provide a barrier to the outside world. And it's so important, and I think drinking ASEA does this, and also using Renew 28. That is the most important thing you could do, is strengthen your skin barrier. And I'll give you an example. I know a guy just recently who had a cut on his foot, and he was in LA, and they've had all that rain, and so he's a surfer. And his surfer buddies were like, oh, we don't go out, right after a rain because we've had so much rain that it's filled up the sewers and, the water is all churned up. We're not going out right after a storm. Well, he loves to surf. So he went out and he got an infection because he had a cut. He got an infection in his leg. And for a while, they thought they were going to have to amputate it. And so, we don't often think about the purpose of our skin. It's not just to hold your organs in so they don't fall out, but it's to protect you because there are so many environmental toxins. But then moving on to the sun, every time you walk out the door, and in fact, you don't even have to walk out the door. If you're sitting by a window and the sun's rays are coming in on your skin, it's breaking the elastin fibrils. It's breaking down the elasticity in your skin and also causing photo damage, photo aging. And so that's what's so cool about our skincare system. It was designed specifically not only to make your skin more resistant to photo aging, and also it also reverses photo aging. And when you think about, I worked on our farm for 20 years, 365 days a year, whether it was 110 degrees, sometimes it was 25 below. And look at my skin. And it's because the Renew Advanced, when you pair that with the Redox signaling technology, it reverses skin aging, prevents further skin aging, and it keeps you looking years younger. I like to say, people will say, you look good, instead of you look good for your age. They'll just say, you look good, and which I had somebody say that at my house tonight, and I had never met her before. And she came over, and we weren't really talking about skincare, but she asked me how old I was. And then she said, I have to talk to you about your skincare. Your skin is gorgeous. And it's because of the Redox signaling technology paired with the Redox active technology that's in our Renew Advanced. They work together. That's it in a nutshell. But if you want to know anything about the particular products, we can talk about that.
Let's talk about your routine. Are you using the Renew Advanced Skincare System twice a day, morning and night? And
Yes.
also we have those separate products. We have the intensive serum, we have the clay mask. How are you incorporating those and the Renew as well? How do you incorporate all the different products?
Right. Well, I have really grown to love the intensive serum. And I use that a lot all over my face. And the interesting thing was when I first started using that, it made my skin cells turn over really fast. So I felt like I always had flaky skin, and I thought, well, I don't like this. But just hang in there for a while, because that goes away, and then you have smooth, bright, radiant skin. So what I do every morning, if I'm going to use the mask, which I try to do it a couple times a week anyway, I get up, put it on, wait 10 minutes, and it wipes off, and that really detoxifies your skin. And then I go forward and use the skincare system, the Renew 28 or the intensive serum, whatever I have handy, and then use the toner, the glow serum, and the hydrating cream. After that, the toner, yeah. But if I don't use the mask, then I start out with the foaming cleanser, which is beautiful. And right away, it starts exfoliating your skin. That's the name of the game. Because when you get older, like I am, your skin cells don't turn over quickly. And then you have old cells on the surface that can last, several months. Well, you want them to be turning over. And that's where the Redox signaling technology comes in. And then the Renew Advanced system helps your own body produce more collagen. So you want fresh skin cells, you want more collagen present, and you want more collagen production. And this helps you do it naturally and with no chemical ingredients. And that's important too. For years, I've been studying personal care products because there is no regulation on them. And whatever you put on your skin, whatever toxic ingredients, and many personal care products have toxic ingredients, whatever you put on your skin is coursing through your bloodstream in about 20 minutes. So I've always been careful about that. And it's one thing I really appreciate about ASEA. Everything is, the skincare system is nature-based. So it's not going to have the chemical ingredients. And it's entirely safe. And it even has plant-based retinols, 2 different plant-based retinols that are safe for pregnant women, nursing mothers. And this really is a breakthrough in skincare.
Okay, what is that? I don't know what that is.
Is it the Cheramola?
Yeah, Cheramola, Anana Cheramola, and also Nicotiana benthamiana. That's
Okay.
one of that's in the glow serum. And then the hydrating cream has C-phenyl, which is another plant-based retinol. A retinol, Jim, you'll hear it in the skincare industry all the time. Everybody wants a retinol because it helps get the old dead skin cells off your skin, helps with skin cell turnover. But if you have a chemically based retinol, it's not safe to use if you are pregnant or nursing, because it's chemicals. And actually, the nature-based ingredients work better because they're safe. There's actually an exfoliant in the cleanser called lactobionic acid, and this is a very popular new ingredient or product you'll hear a lot in skincare circles as well. Because even if you have super sensitive skin or a skin issue, you can still use that to exfoliate and help your skin repair. So it exfoliates from the beginning, the cleanser, all the way through to the hydrating cream, plus adding firmness, elasticity, and collagen, which we lose as we age.
Yes. And we start losing that at 30. So really all ages need it. I was just going to real quick, you recently had a skincare event. So that's such a wonderful way to demonstrate what makes ours so different. And you can, even the mask, they can see transformation, put it on, let it clock it 10 minutes later. They take it off and you can already see some changes just by introducing the skin to the clay bentonite and the Renew 28 that's in it. So for me, it's all an amazing way to give people an experience. Renew 28, when it was by itself, obviously spraying ASEA. And then, of course, when they brought all the skincare, I mean, it's safe for really anyone in the household, but it has no gluten. It has no fragrance. And so they really took time to give our skin redox potential because of how they all work together. And the ingredients are exceptional, having the chamomile and having the edelweiss. And I just love how they were so specific in putting the four together. Maybe you can talk how that event went when you were demonstrating these products. You had that a few months ago, didn't you? Have an event in your home?
Yes, I did. And thank you for bringing up, I'll just mention, ASEA partnered with a team of PhD researchers out of the University of Bath in the UK. And these researchers took a look at old skin versus young skin and the properties that old skin has compared with somebody who's 20 years old. And then they used they actually published the study, the findings, in the Antioxidant Journal. And that's a highly respected peer-reviewed journal. So what they did with that information is that's what guided them in the selection of the photoprotective and anti-aging ingredients that they put together to make our Renew Advanced products. So we have these redox active ingredients, and then they paired them with skincare ingredients that were already proven to be safe and effective. So they really did their research and came up with this beautiful combination of products that nurtures our skin and actually is very anti-aging. So when I had some women over, and that's what I love about ASEA's products. In 5 or 10 minutes, people can see the difference. I mean, if they have something that hurts with the Renew Advance, for instance, a sore joint or a muscle, they put it on 3 times in 5 minutes, they're going to get a result. They don't have to wait, for months and months to see a difference. They can put the mask on, and in 10 minutes, their face I had them take pictures before, and then I mixed up some radiance, and we can talk about that in a minute. We drank that, and I explained why our product is different. And then they went ahead and washed the mask off and did all the steps. And then we talked about all the products, and then they looked. They each had a little mirror, and they kept checking it out and looking at it. And then they took a picture afterwards, and everybody bought a full skincare set, skincare kit, because they like the results.
That's right.
Hey, Maureen, Nancy just mentioned something. I'm not sure where, I guess Lee had to step away for a second. But when she mentioned, and we've heard a lot of this, that you use, this is a sample size of the gel, that you mentioned, Nancy, that people apply and their discomfort goes away when they do it, we say 3 times in 5 minutes. Maureen, can you sort of unwrap that a little bit? Why does that happen? Because I've done it hundreds of times, and everybody always asks the question, what in the world just happened to me? What happened to them? I mean, they put something on here or they put it on their knee, and within a very short period of time, it's like they're moving the joint and there's no discomfort. What is going on?
Well, we know from the gene study that was done about 6 years ago that different genes are turned on in 5 different categories: heart health, GI health, inflammation, immune status, and hormone modulation. So there's an anti-inflammatory component to these products. They work differently than, say, steroids or non-steroidals. But what you get is, a sort of a localized effect from it. So if you have something that is hurting you, And it's amazing if you've ever cut yourself or burned yourself. It's amazing how quickly it will take that discomfort away. But we say to apply it 3 times. Most of us use it 3 times in 5 minutes. So if you've got some shoulder discomfort or knee discomfort, you're going to apply it, let it dry, reapply it. One of our associates, I guess maybe he couldn't get to his knee or whatever was hurting, and he started putting it on his forefinger and thumb and just applying it to his neck on both sides 3 times. He wasn't even letting it dry. And what he found, and what people who have emulated that have found, is that that too will take discomfort away anywhere in the body. Now, it's an interesting thing. It's not going to take away pain that needs to be addressed. Like if you're having belly pain, and we're not really supposed to use the word pain, but belly discomfort, abdominal discomfort, and you rub the gel and it takes it away, great. It's not going to do that if you have, say, appendicitis and need to go to the hospital. So don't be worried that it's going to take away pain or discomfort, gosh, like breaking my own rules, discomfort that needs to be addressed. But yeah, that's, it's a pretty amazing thing. And we found that even, back when we didn't have the gel and all we had was the spray, it would have that same, the gel is much more concentrated, but even spritzing it would do it as well. So pretty cool. So it's kind of fun. It's fun to show it to people. It's fun to do little demonstrations with the gel. And what Nancy was saying about it, even with the skincare, the gel, taking discomfort away, or that clay mask. I mean, not only is it pulling impurities out, but I couldn't believe it the first time I used it, just the softness of the skin.
Yeah.
The foaming cleanser leaves your skin just feeling like a baby's butt, but you use that clay mask on top of it, and it is like unbelievable how soft it is. It's just fantastic.
And we're seeing other things with the clay mask, putting it on trouble spots. I had a mole, and everything else we had it didn't grow much more. But when I did the clay mask, in 2 weeks, it was gone. I mean, it was like 90% gone, and it was not a pretty looking sight. But what's amazing with the facial care system, like you said, Nancy, when you have people come over and try it, but with the clay mask, and you do the pictures correctly, and we always advise when you start on it, please take a good picture in good lighting. But what's amazing is that with that clay mask, just the clay mask, right? That in 10 minutes, you do a before and after.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is like, oh my gosh, now you got to keep doing it or they're going to come right back, right? So, but that's where the beauty is, the whole system. It's something you have to keep doing, right? I mean, you're not just going to get, pretty and then stop, or you're going to have your boo-boos get better and, whatever your issue was, gets better than you stop. I can't tell you how many people we've had that have done that, but with the skincare system and everything else, you need to continue to use it. You don't just that's just common sense, I would think.
Results. I do want to talk about one product though in the skincare system that I don't think gets enough love. And you were talking about before with the barrier, your skin is a barrier and all. And, when it's funny, a friend of mine who is with another company that they sell skincare and makeup and stuff. And she was always trying to get me to wear foundation. And she said, if you don't wear foundation, then all of those toxins, all those pollutants are getting right to your skin. And I was like, I don't wear, I find most people, a lot of women in ASEA don't use foundation. I use eye makeup and no foundation. But the toner has probiotics in it.
Yes.
Now, when we hear toner, we're all thinking like, the old astringent stuff that you wash your face and then you use a toner with a cotton ball or a pad or whatever to get the rest of your makeup off. Nope, this one you pat on because it's got things in it that calm the skin and also put some probiotics onto the skin to provide a protective barrier. So you guys, if you're skipping over that, you're gypping yourself. So and
I wanted to throw the disclaimer. You just said, guys, typically facial care systems have generally historically been for women. And I got to ask, I'm going to put Lee on the spot. Lee, are you using the stuff? Yes. Are you doing the facial care system? Show me a guy that does not want to look their age. I mean, show me a guy that wants to look younger and younger. And so,
At
every
least
guy
that's
that's
the
listening or every woman that's listening needs to get the system for him. Because it's, you want your guy, I would think, to look a little bit younger as well.
Well, let me just throw this in. We're sitting here talking about this the skin surface area of your face and your neck. I mean, that's probably 10% of the surface area for the rest of your body. And I wished it was possible to clay mask the whole body and do all these products on every square inch. But that's why what Nancy said earlier, as the inside out, your skin and your cellular health on the barrier is a function of inflammatory burden from within the body as well. And so this is a whole body approach. I mean, all I can say is I think I look pretty good for 80. I just
Look awesome, Lee.
You look good. Not good for your age, just good.
Well, and that's what's really amazing about this company is that everything we're doing is designed to make the body do what the body was made to do, right? It's to not age as fast. And then with all the outside environment things that we have going on. But, that's what's so beautiful. And I have learned, and this is maybe a difficult one. I came from corporate America as a stockbroker, and you generally learn not to trust anybody. You have to dig in to make sure that what they're saying is accurate. And that there's a lot of that going on in Wall Street and a bunch of other places. But here, we've been in it with 9 years. Maureen, you're 10. Nancy, 10. I
11.
haven't seen 11. I haven't. Sorry, I got that wrong, doctor. I'm so sorry. But have you? I've never seen a company be this consistent with the highest level quality of products at a very affordable price. Right? I mean, isn't that kind of crazy, Maureen?
It absolutely is. And, we haven't even talked about some of the Via line, but I'm getting texts that people want to hear about Radiance. So I think we need to get to that.
We're going to touch on that. Yeah.
But I do want to touch on Life Max, which is,
Yes.
of course, my favorite, because it has products in it. It has ingredients in it, astragalus and gotukola, that actually help to increase the collagen production and hyaluronic acid in your skin. So that is another, if you're taking that and it's got all amazing properties for diseases of what we call diseases of aging, things that, complaints that people have as they get older, cognition, eyesight, blood pressure, blood sugar, things like that. But it also has an anti-aging. It also has French cantaloupe, which
Yes.
what's her name? Cindy, what's her name, has made an entire career out of. Right.
Yeah.
That's you're talking about Life Max.
Life Max.
Life Max.
Yep.
Life Max is amazing. Amazing. I can't remember, what is that model's name?
Cindy Crawford.
Cindy Crawford.
She's
Thank you.
she's always talking
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, with SOD, huge antioxidant.
Yep.
So fabulous product. And all of our nutritional products, I could probably make a case for every single one of them.
Yeah.
Adding to your beauty routine.
Well, we probably need to do that.
Sometime.
But yeah,
let's-
touch on
Great.
and touch on real quick, Nancy. Then on the newest one, the collagen activator product, the Radiance. Yeah,
And I love that you sampled it. We always sample the Radiance.
Oh, it tastes
Oh.
so good. It's
Right.
just really delightful
Delicious.
and refreshing. It's so good. So different than any other collagen product on the market. For one thing, and the company came out with this, I think it was last June. And first I'll give you my testimony, then I'll tell you what I love about it. I had last fall, my hair started to thinning. I
Oh.
mean, it was just shedding. I could just go like this, and I'd have a bunch
wow.
of hair. And I've always had a lot of hair, but this was at the rate I was going, I was afraid I was going to be bald. And
Yeah.
I did not know what to do about it. I went to my doctor, and he just he didn't really say much. He didn't really do anything and didn't say much. I went to my dermatologist, and she gave me some stuff to put on spots. Anyway, I was putting Renew 28 all over, and then they came out with this, maybe it was a year ago. Anyway, they came out in June of 2023 with this Radiance product,
Right.
and I started drinking it. And I don't know if you guys can see, I have all this new hair growth.
Me too. Oh no.
And then one day I was looking in the mirror and I thought, why do I have a funky wave? When you have curly hair, you never know what your hair is going to do. I had this funny wave up here and it was about that long. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's new hair. And then I wore my hair up and all on the back, all along the back, I have new hair. I
Yeah.
have new hair all over. And it's pretty cool. But it happens fast because it's the peptides that are the amino acids that are in there are in the exact same ratio as the collagen in our skin, hair, and nails. So you're going to get a result in 2 weeks. Your hair is going to be shinier, fuller, your skin, fewer wrinkles in a month and a half. You're going to notice.
I got to show a picture. I'm not sure if Phyllis Lane is one of our guests, but she did the collagen. She was doing all the products, then she added the new one, right? And then here's her picture.
This was her only change in last.
This is all that she did, was that she added the radiance.
And you see the date, June 27 last year to August. And she's late 70s woman.
Wow.
That's real.
That's
And-
amazing.
No photoshopping there.
Yeah, no
This
photoshopping
is
there.
real live gal in Kerrville.
So yeah, we always go arm power.
She doesn't mind being the poster child for radiance.
So she's the poster child for a sea of radiance. So
She likes it.
yeah, we always advise people, you've got to take before and after pictures. Even when I've had boo-boos, when I do a lot of silly things and you have a major boo-boo, as soon as you recover, take a picture, because you're just not going to believe how quickly it recovers. But yeah, that's pretty amazing. Anything else you want to offer on the radiance, Maureen?
I wanted to add one item.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just that it's no animal in it.
Yeah.
Vegan people, it's perfectly natural, tastes good, dragon fruit, lemonade. People are seeing it. Leland mentioned people are seeing changes even in strength or their workouts. We don't tout it for those, skin, hair, nails, but there are stories of people seeing impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've seen that too, right, Maureen?
Huh?
You've seen some of that as well, right? That it's working on other.
Yeah. Since I got a new hip, I've been doubling up. Actually, I did it because my sister, she drinks like 6 a day. She just loves the way it tastes. I was like, I don't think you're getting much benefit past the first one. She's like, I don't care. She said, but when I take it, she has a problem with her IT bands and some different stuff. And she's like, when I'm on this product, everything feels good. She said, and she was already taking collagen, the one we all get at Costco and add to our coffee in the morning. So she was adding this on top of it and getting a great crossover. So I started doubling up as well. I already just taking 1 pack a day. I had to get rid of my fake nails. They were becoming like, I couldn't keep up with them. They were growing long. So, so I do need to go get them polished and all. But the radiance, not only does it have this incredible balance of these plant-based amino acids that are perfect for hair, nails, and skin, it also has rice ceramides in it that helps to feed your skin and keep it well hydrated. And it has maki berry in it. And what I love about this company is you're always going to find these little ingredients thrown into things that you're like, wow, like with our omega product, which is amazing. It's omega 3, 5, and 7. So it has all sorts of benefits to it. And it's got astaxanthin in it. I can never say that word, which is an incredible antioxidant. This has maki berry. Look up maki berry. I was like, oh my gosh. Taking this stuff so we look better, and it's working all throughout our body to make us healthier as well, along with everything else we're doing. It's got incredible blood pressure, blood sugar, cardiovascular benefits to it. It's just an amazing ingredient. And so take a look at that. These products are phenomenal. And then we have
copper and zinc
too, which you need for cross.
And there may be some men that might want to, focus on it for PSA. If you study the ingredients, you'd be surprised how it crossovers into other health benefits.
I had a help, if I could just interject really quick.
Yeah.
The maki berry. I was on a maki berry supplement from another company
Wow.
because I have a situation where my eyes are dry. They get dry, and I've had to go in for these treatments that are not covered by insurance, and they're $1,000 each treatment, and I have to go about every 2 years because I have such dry eyes. Well, I was on a maki berry supplement because that's the newest research for eyes that get.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I was getting ready to go in for another treatment, and then the radiance came out, and I started drinking that. I don't have those dry eye symptoms anymore.
Wow.
So that's in Radiant?
Yeah. Radiance will help
berry.
because of the maki.
Okay. This is kind of making my head spin. But Lee, you wrote Healthy Matters.
Yeah.
This is what I think people need to start to comprehend is that everything that this company has, now 16 products, are all designed and they all have been formulated to come together, and then they all start affecting the body to make the body work the way the body was made to work, right, Lee?
Synergetic.
I mean, isn't that the premise of this? It's all, synergetically going to start doing things that, oh my gosh, I never thought that would happen. I never thought I would ever get rid of this or that. But when you give your body everything, then it just
works great.
Wakes up, no matter your age. And that's the other thing I like to continue to show people. No matter where you are in your life, if you start these things, good Lord, I mean, you don't know what's possible, right, Lee?
Right.
Well, we've talked about some miscellaneous and wonderful products that are the sideshow, I'll call them, in ASEA, from the main foundation, which is the Redox science. It's the Redox Foundation, and they all do work together. They're all redox active in that regard, but the foundation of this is redox signaling. That's what interacts with our DNA. We talked earlier about, the idea of antioxidants and, antioxidant protection. Somebody talked about some person that had a cantaloupe product out there that was giving SOD. Well, that's wonderful. But guess what inside the cell is responsible for making SOD? What's responsible inside the cell for making glutathione, the body's master antioxidant? And the answer is redox signaling via the NRF2 transcription factor, those pathway genes that tell the DNA to make more SOD and more glutathione, and the enzymes that put glutathione together. And so we can top load, from exogenous outside the body sources all day long. But the foundation for everything that we're talking about is this redox signaling foundation that wakes my cell up, that wakes the DNA up to make our own glutathione, our own superoxide dismutase. Now, we still have to have raw ingredients because what I just described is not nutrition.
Right.
It's signaling. It's bioactive, bioenergetic molecules that dictate how the DNA is going to respond and then shut down when it's supposed to. And so you combine all of this together, and now I have the raw ingredients, but I also have like the foreman, the construction foreman is the one that's making the orders. He's signaling, he's communicating, he's on the walkie-talkie with his subordinates who are actually assembling and repairing and remodeling, if you will, the body. And without that all working together, all we're doing is covering up from the outside in. And so both of them work together. And that's why I love Nancy's brilliant, and Maureen as well, the brilliant description of how these various ingredients come together to do just that. And it's all based on this redox signaling foundation. And that's so there's two parts there, and nobody else has the redox signaling foundation. That's what makes nutrition bioavailable. That's what makes these ingredients that we're smothering on our skin become active. And so that together it's like 1 + 1 is 3. That's the synergism.
But there is a difference of adding the ASEA technologies to the Redox because they're all paired together, correct?
Well, Redox makes everything
The
else
Redox
good.
the Redox fundamentals of the nutrition, of the facial care, of cell performance. They all, because your Redox is now being activated, everything else is going to make it all now start to work better than it ever has before with the basis of Redox in place.
Yes, and to the scientific point, it makes cauliflower work better. It makes broccoli work better. It
Right,
makes exercise work better. It makes everything in your lifestyle work better. And so that's why this becomes a lifestyle. This is the Redox lifestyle.
If you have the healthy lifestyle. Because so many people think they can do this and go out and do all the crap.
No, you can't.
Like Maureen says, have your clicker and a Big Mac in one hand and the other hand, and I'm going to be great. So,
Well, you're sabotaging your ability to have these work. You know, if you do put in those things, then these molecules are going to have to work that much harder. Now they're repairing all sorts of stuff going on. So you
go
do
ahead,
have to be
Maureen.
conscious about it all.
Were you going to say something? We're going to wrap it up.
I'm having a hip conversation.
Oh, okay. That's why you're laughing on the. Okay.
We'll call you hippie.
Yeah, right. So, guys, Nancy, thank you.
It was a blessing.
This was a very lively, fun conversation, and it just starts to make everybody realize
perfect time
we have our hands on.
With spring starting, it's perfect time.
Yeah, so
we're going to be in the sun more.
Thank you, Nancy, very much from the bottom of our hearts. You and Dick are awesome, and obviously Maureen and Dr. Osler and Ann. But we will not be here next Friday. It is Good Friday.
Yep.
So we will be at church and we will be doing other things. So we will not be here. We take Good Friday off. And so with that, we will be back the following Friday where we have Dr. Carolyn Hoffman that will be with us.
That'll be
What was
great.
that, Maureen?
I said, yay.
Yay.
Yes.
So we have a great lineup.
Well,
I know
she hasn't
she's
been able
very
to.
busy.
Yeah.
So with that, please, if you've been invited to watch this, we thank you so much and share it with others. We generally are here except for a handful of Fridays a year. We've been here for quite a while doing this, and we do this as a paying it forward. We know what we have and we want people to be aware. And that's why when Nancy and the distinguished Maureen and Dr. Osler join, that helps to validate because these are real life people. You can find them out in the real world. They're not paid actors. Not that I'm aware of. Are you? No.
Paid to say things.
Get back to the one. Yeah, right. So get back to the one that got you on the webinar. Please respect them. It's a business. We haven't talked about that. We will be talking about that actually in a couple of weeks with Danny Doyle and a few others. We're going to have some of those folks on. So we want to thank you. The recording will be up at Redox Matters within a matter of about an hour. And again, all the other recordings are there as well. Dr. Osler, thank you for librarying those there. That was awesome. So with that, thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
God
Nancy.
bless.
Have a happy Easter.
Thank you, Nancy.
happy Easter, everybody. Thanks.
Easter.
See you when we're back.
He has risen.
Everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Love you
Thanks.
guys. Bye.
Love y'all. Bye.